Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is you decided to join us today. My name is Michelle Smith from Angelic Healing. I am an emotional well-being coach, specializing in turning negative thought patterns into positive behaviors by teaching you how to think and heal yourself happy. So what am I going to talk about today? Well, emotions. Because it's been an emotional roller coaster for so many. It's nearly 12 months since we came into lockdown, and we've all had our individual things going on to deal with. So emotions, why am I an emotional well-being coach? Because emotions play such a massive part in our well-being. And as a hypnotherapist and an energy healer, there is so much connection between what we're thinking, what we are feeling, and what that shapes our actions into then. So I found some notes from a workshop I'd done some time ago that I've used recently, and I just wanted to share it with you. So do bear with me, because I am going to be looking down at the page, but I'm hoping you're going to find it very interesting. And the point of it is really to make sure that you do look after your emotional well-being. Okay, it's really key. The self-care is not selfish, it's selfless. It's absolutely paramount to your health and well-being and your immune system. Okay, so here goes. Stay with me. So, examples of powerful thoughts. Right, now, disease. A disease is actually meaning a body not at ease, okay? And disease can be manifested through negative emotions. It's a disruption in the body's energy flow, okay? So let's go through the body and see how our thoughts and emotions are affecting us physically. Okay, so your head. So your head is mostly on show. We're generally covered up from the neck down, and the head is a representation of how you see yourself. Okay, so headaches. Headaches are from putting ourselves down. If you get a lot of headaches, just tap into yourself for a moment and just ask, how strong is your imposter syndrome at the moment? Your inner chatterbox. What are you telling yourself? Okay, it's feeling bad about yourself, and so there's a lot of forgiveness to be done there. Okay, your ears. Your ears is the capacity to hear the truth. So kids get a lot of earaches because they don't want to hear, no, stop it, get down, no you can't, later, tidy your room. Because they don't know how to respond to that, because they're brought up to do as they're told. But to the body to rebel against it, it comes out as an earache. So it's shutting down being able to hear those signals and that rejection. Right. So if you've got an itis, so it's a tonsillitis, or something with an itis, or a sore, or cut, or a bruise, or any kind of inflammation, that's anger. Anger that's turned against the self. It's erupting from within and coming out as a bruise or an itis. Okay. Your hair is your strength. I've obviously got loads of strength. Put tension in the scalp, right? When we're stressed and we're anxious with a bit of overwhelm, we actually tense the scalp. And what that's doing is cutting off the energy to the hair follicle, and it can cause baldness, okay? So it stops the hair from being able to breathe and pop through, okay? So just try for a moment, relax your scalp. Did it move? So you've got tension in your scalp. Why would you tense your scalp? It doesn't achieve anything at all. It's not going to make you feel better. Just let go. Just relax the scalp from the head through. Great. Eyes, capacity to see. Okay. So eye problems is not willing to see the issue or to face the issue, the problem. Okay. Afraid to see the truth within, or don't know quite how to see it. Don't quite know how to see that. Stigmas can be there's two directions, there's two things going on that you're not quite sure about. Eyes are really, really important, as we know. But yeah, it's a refusal. It's kind of a denial, really, that's cutting your sight off for you. The mouth is a capacity to break down ideas and decisions. Teeth Indecision. It's also a sign of family. You hear that in dreams. If you dream your teeth are breaking, that's a horrible dream. It's that disconnection of the family. Throat is expression, like your throat chakra for communication. So I want, I will, it's kind of activity. So if you don't feel like you've got the right to speak up, or there's words unsaid, or words that you've said that you would like to retract, it comes out in a sore throat. Anger is a big one to affect the throat as well. Again, that's back in that itis, tonsillitis. You know, so angry that you can't speak. It's an eruption of anger. Okay. Thyroid for creativity. You're not expressing yourself. There's a lot of shoulds. You know, and you're bound to kind of go outside of judgment. That will affect the thyroid. Shoulders. This is a big one. We all get tension. I keep tension in my shoulders. Shoulders is burdens. You're carrying burdens from other people. So it's like a cross to bear, like the crucifix, carrying of the crucifix, that weight on the shoulders. So, or you're not free to shoulder responsibilities. You don't want to shoulder that responsibility, but it's generally down to carrying the world of the weight on the shoulders and having that cross to bear. Arms and hands, the ability to embrace. You're not open to embrace the situation. So, you know, like ideas and expectations and experiences, if there's problems with that, it's difficult, it's too much to embrace. Like the hands and the arms have got the capacity, but they can't sustain, so they become stretched, and then that works back into the shoulders as well. Fascinating, that one. So the lower arm is the ability to, and the upper is the capacity to. And then it covers your hands. Like, you don't want to grasp, you can't quite grasp the situation. That tends to come out in a lot of like carpal tunnel or arthritis or rheumatism. You'll feel that in your hands. You can't quite clutch it. Yeah, we either grip tight, don't we, so we don't want to let go, or we can't quite get a grip of it. Okay. Too much to handle. Fingers is details. The details are too much to take in. Okay, back, that's the support of life. A bit like the spine supports the pages of a book. Without it, the book would fall apart. That's how we feel as an individual if we're not feeling supported. It's the spinal column. It's backache. And then in the middle back, it's kind of, that's the support issue. It's back there. That's where you feel it more than anything else. And then it moves back up to the shoulders, becoming the burden again. Okay. So what else in the back? There's lots more. Oh, guilty. Guilt is what's stored in the middle back, and the lower back can be caused by finances, not being supported financially, or the fear of money, not the money itself, but the fear of the financial situation that you might be in. Now the breath. Let's take a breath when we think about this. Now the breath is the most important part of our being. Without it, we would be no more. Now, we take this for granted, completely for granted. We don't sit there and go, I wonder where the next breath is coming from. If it didn't come within 3 minutes, we'd be dead. So breathing is so important. If we breathe to stay alive, but if we breathe properly, we're likely to stay alive longer. So a lot of, if you do yoga, you'll see that a lot of breathing takes place in the different positions, because you're sending breath to that organ in that particular position. Really important to have deep breaths rather than shallow breaths, to allow the lungs to be at full capacity, to expand the rib cage and allow for the fresh breath to flush out any stale breath in the lungs, so that you can breathe properly. Okay. A lot of trust. There's a lot of trust there in that the breath is just coming, but we don't tend to trust that anything else is going to continue to work just fine, and nobody knows why. Just let it be. You know, everything you need is there in your body for you. You just need to be aware of it, tapped into it, and listen to the signals the body's giving you. Now your lungs. The lungs is obviously connected to the breath, and it's how we take in life. Breath is life. Breathing life into your life. Okay, I like that. Breathing life into your life. Now, as the female species for generations, centuries, tribal ancestor days, the female species has always been considered the lesser species. You know, we're not good enough. We're not supposed to take up as much space. as male species. We're not as important. So going back to our ancestors, we would only take in as much breath as we needed, cutting off life because we don't feel worthy. So when you've got feelings of unworthiness, that you don't deserve, that you're not meant to be here, that, you know, excuse me, and you're a bit timid and you've got low self-esteem, you'll feel that in your lungs because you're not taking in as much air as you need to. Okay, really fascinating that. Obviously that's changing now as women are evolving, and look at all the sports personalities with their fabulous athletic bodies, showing that we can compete and achieve and be on the same level, which the mothership is doing much the same for us. Go girls. Okay, the long issues really is you're cutting off life, you know, we're cutting off life, cutting off the breath like we don't deserve. So remember girls, you're worthy, you're important, and you matter. Your breasts, that can be down to, well, it's nourishing and mothering, isn't it? We think about nursing when you think of that. So we can over mother. But if you don't nourish yourself, you are likely to look at developing breast cancer. So it's really key, ladies, that you give that self-care back to yourself. You know, if you take offense easily or suppress emotions, that can come out as a breast cancer as well. Arthritis is actually criticism. Yeah, criticism of the self, or criticism that you're taking on. So it's inward or outward criticism that's making that, like the negative put down. The negative put down is causing that arthritis because it's criticism to the self. Because we do tend to believe everything that we tell ourselves. Everything, our body will believe everything that we tell it, but we do take on what people tell us too. So we need to be mindful of that. If you're in fear, you know, fear is the bottom of the emotional scale. You're either in love or fear, and every other feeling is just an aspect of one or the other. So when you're in fear, your energy is of a really low vibration, and it's all the heavy emotions that go with it. Okay, and you can expect to have poor health when you sustain that emotion of fear. Okay, because it's not good for your well-being or your immune system. So fear is a fear of moving forward. So it can actually be, it come out in your feet. You know, when you see somebody really, really get old and they're stooped and they're shuffling, okay, how much anger do you think and fear that they've held on to in their life to get them to the point where we can't move forward, we're frightened of the unknown, it's being affected in our understanding of life, standing, the feet. So that can be in any joints, that your knees and your pelvic area as well, your hips and your legs. When we feel guilty, we tend to seek punishment. Again, that goes back to not deserving, unworthy of, and that creates pain. And the more that level of, I'm really unworthy of deserving of anything nice, that becomes chronic pain, real chronic pain. And that's years and years of old patterns and beliefs of not being good enough. So girls, we're good enough. We don't want chronic pain. It's important to nourish yourself. Absolutely nourish yourself. And the heart, well, the heart is the place of love. And the heart just pumps joy around the body. Okay, joyful people don't have heart attacks. The heart does not attack us. The heart is full of love and happiness and joy, unless you're cutting off life to the heart. What happens is when you refuse love for yourself, you are literally strangling and squeezing the life out of your heart, and it will die. It will die. Hearts do not attack us. Yeah, happy people don't have heart attacks. They really don't. So keep your health, your heart health healthy. Yeah, be kind to yourself. Allow that love and joy to pump around your body, keeping you in that happy vibration, keeping you in a place of flow, and making sure that you've got so much self-love, you respect yourself enough to take care of your own heart. Absolutely. When you're cutting off joy, you are denying yourself love. Yeah. When you're anemic, you tend to be a yes but person. Yeah, yes but. Always got an answer for. My mum can be a bit like that, very pessimistic. We end up playing a game of tennis. Oh, I've got this problem. Oh, why don't you try this? Oh, yes, but this problem's even bigger now. Oh, why don't you try this and this? No, I said I've got a problem and I want it to stay a problem. This is this yes but. And you can have real problems with your blood and your anemia and your thyroid through that. High blood pressure is like emotional springs internally. So everything is a big deal, a really big deal. And low blood pressure, it's a low vibe. Well, I could do, but it won't work. Well, yeah, I've tried that, but nothing happened for me. Why bother? Yeah, that's a real low vibrational lack of any motivation, really, isn't it? Or any willingness to be open to try to feel better or to take on any suggestion. No, get up and go. It's pretty much got up and gone. Yeah. Kidneys, disappointment, failure, fear. You know, that's through tragedy as well. Again, back to seeing things as a major disaster, a tendency to make a big deal out of something, a big loss. You can't go on. You know, when somebody has kidney failure, sometimes you can work it backwards, and they have actually had an experience in their life or something that's taken place that they just can't handle it and just don't feel that they could go on. It's too big a loss. It can really come out in your kidneys. So your liver is like a laboratory of the body with like 500 and odd functions, if not more. You know, it's the seat of the primitive emotions. So if you get very angry, rage and hatred, it will sit in the liver. You know, this is where a lot of people who attend AA, it's come from a place of anger, and it's obviously turned into drink, which has affected the liver. It's angry and self-hatred. You've got to dissolve and forgive and let go of some of that hatred to be able to heal from that. So the stomach, sometimes we just can't digest it. It's just too much to digest. Don't want to digest that. You know, years ago when airplanes first were flying, there were sick bags in every single seat. And that's because people couldn't stomach the idea of flying in the sky in a tin can. So it used to turn them sick. Well, obviously now it's more acceptable. And there are still sick bags in the seats in front of you, but we don't tend to use them as much because we can digest that information now. So stomach is for like, yeah, digesting information, intake, assimilate, that kind of thing, new ideas. People who are stuck in their ways that don't digest change, they can have stomach issues. And you know, that will come out in ulcers as well. I'm not good enough. That's kind of a fear-based resistance, low vibrational energy. That comes back in the same in the stomach. Okay. Spleen can be over obsession. Your colon is you can't release and let go, constipated, you know, holding on to something. And obviously if you let go of something too quickly, because you don't want to hold on to it, you don't want to accept it, you don't want to take it on board, you have a poorly tummy. Yeah, that's a rush of fear, letting go of that. So knees, back to flexibility, fear of moving forward. Bending, is your pride so much that you can't bend the rules or bend to see somebody else's side of the story, their opinion? Ego, lack of forgiveness comes out in the knees. You know, that takes a long time to heal. If you're stubborn, if you're completely stubborn, it's pride and ego related. So somebody who's very unforgiving will have difficulty in their knees. And the feet, I think we touched on that before, understanding, being able to stand up for oneself. Yeah. It is how to move forward, especially. So the body actually follows the thoughts, and the thoughts create the emotions. So every time when I talk about let's teach you how to think and heal yourself happy, and talking about the emotional guidance system that we're all got built in, it's to prevent these kind of things from happening to you. Trapped emotions stored in the body over time will manifest as an ailment. So it's really important to be able to heal, to release, to let go. But if we're not aware of how it's showing up in the body, or when the body does talk to us why it's what emotions it's connected to, then obviously it would just spiral out of control, and that's when you spiral down the emotional guidance scale and get stuck in fear. So there's loads of information there. I did go pretty quickly because I am mindful of the time. Tuned for the rest of the day. If you want any more information or want to join any of my workshops on this kind of information or a one-to-one, then please do give me a shout. But you can change your patterns and beliefs and take control of your thoughts to heal your life. Just remember that. Make a decision and start today, because you matter and you are important. So I'll see you later. Have a great day.